What's up? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Geek Galaxy with Yam and the boys. My name is Christian. I am one of the people that you're going to be listening today. Wow. This is our first recording, and it really shows. Joining us is Kevin Hoskinson. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, man?
I am doing. Yeah. It is good to be here. And if you're listening, I'm glad you're here. You mean a lot to me, whoever the hell you are.
Yeah.
And I would give you a big hug if you were right in front of me. Also joining us is Nickish. Nickish, how are you?
Oh, what's up? I'm good, man. Yeah, I wouldn't give you a hug yet, but maybe like a stern high five.
That's saying a lot. That's if you can collect yourself a high five from Nickish, then you've won in life. Yep. And the one joining the boys is our very own Yam. Hello, Yam.
Hey yo. No, I wouldn't give you a stern high five. I would give you a hug. That would probably crush your ribs. So I just got to dial it back.
He's not joking either. He gives really, really strong, passionate hugs, like very strong hugs.
Yeah,
that's my standard.
Really, the only kind of hugs to give. Yep. Usually, at this point, I would say if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave us a like. But since this is our first time, I'm just going to assume that all of you are new here.
Yes,
and it just makes me very, very thankful. Hopefully this is like your second or third time listening to it because it's so funny.
Oh yeah.
It's your first time. Let us entertain you.
Absolutely.
No pressure, guys.
Here. That's why people are here. Yeah. So Christian, you know what, guys? We have a lot to talk about today, right? I know. So I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the idea of the podcast and why we kind of are coming together to bring this into the world. Geek Galaxy, obviously, it's about nerdom and fandom and everything that we love. Listen, the world's a crazy place, right? You go on Twitter and it's just, unless you're following, I can think of maybe about 5% of the people I follow on there are genuinely I'm happy to be on there because they're on there. But then the other 95% is a war zone. It's insane. It's insanity. It's crazy. People can be mean. People can be dicks. People can be horrible on the internet. We kind of wanted to be the antithesis of that. We kind of wanted to bring, we wanted to celebrate nerdom and fandom and all that stuff in a really cool and positive light. We want to talk about, we want to celebrate things like diversity and inclusion and things that people, when people get upset about the casting of a fictional mermaid because she's not the same skin color as the cartoon they watched growing up. It's kind of insane, right? It's not cool. I don't understand why people feel the need to get really angry about these things. It's all media. It's all gonna be fun. Give it a chance. Enjoy it, right? And even if this doesn't work for you, you always have your original to fall back on. And that's one thing I've always believed. And it's super, super important that anyone. This is a no judgment zone. This is a no. I hate to use this term, no bullying zone, right? We're going to have, we're an entertainment podcast. So we're going to be talking about movies, TV, all these things. And some things we're even going to not agree with, or we're going to agree with, we're going to have our little discussions and talk, about things that we consume. So whether it's good or bad, we're all going to have our opinions, right? Everyone has opinions, but it's important that we talk about them respectfully and, don't hate them for stupid reasons. If you don't like a movie or TV show, the acting's bad, the writing's bad, whatever it is, there are these things that can make something not enjoyable for you. But if you're going to bring up something like, the skin color of a character or anything like that, the sexuality of a character, what a character identifies as. That's a big, that's a big, that's something we're not going to do that here.
No, not at all.
Yeah. And
I think mostly, we just want to talk about the things that we like a whole bunch that, take up our lives every day to distract from some of the some of the harder times, and we're going to get into
Absolutely.
the mental health that kind of surrounds it all. The fact that I can talk about Star Wars, and that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just gonna be good vibes, positive, and even when I completely disagree, and I will quite often.
Yes.
Probably. Probably today I'm gonna disagree about a couple
Yeah,
things.
you probably will.
Even when I complain, at the end of the day, it's all in good fun. We feel big things because we like big things, and we're not gonna take it to heart, and we're not gonna, like Kevin said, it sounds silly, but we're not gonna bully anybody over that.
No.
Yeah. Basically, if you're a nerd, if you're a geek, come join us. We welcome everybody, as long as you're not a dick. And even if you are, join us anyways. Maybe we can cure you of that, or at least help.
We can cure you of being a dick. You heard it here
That
first.
That would be an accomplishment.
Yeah,
I think we can pull that off.
I've got
Christian
the
even
elixir.
Christian even has his little doggy here, which you all can't see
little
because this is
baby.
an audio podcast.
Does anybody, Yam, do you want to describe the dog?
Oh God. Okay, so it's adorable.
Wait right now.
Probably like 300 pounds, we think.
Sorry, I just can't see it. The screen is so tiny, but it is taking up most of the screen here.
Oh
no, it is a teeny tiny adorable
light sleepy
dog.
Baby.
Sleepy baby.
Yeah.
Chihuahua.
Yeah, little Bella. Bella's her name.
We have three wonderful, quiet, sweet dogs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You guys could come over and
never
visit
jump
anytime.
on you.
Never
and
jump
don't
on
bark
you.
at you, even though you've been in the house for 6 hours.
Never.
So between the four of us, we have a wide range of kind of the nerddom that we obsess over. So I kind of wanted to do a little get to know you before we spout off our angry and loving opinions at each other. Just to kind of let the audience know what's up. What are we into? What are we what are we doing? So I kind of have this little game that
I love it already, by the way.
Yes,
I've designed for each of you to play my silly little game. And they're based around things that I know the three of you like separately. All three of you can play for each turn, right? So I'm going to start with Christian.
Hey,
who I believe is known as the godfather of toys.
Yes.
Somehow I reluctantly accept this, but sure.
I have here four toy lines, three of which are real, one of which is fake.
I will 100%. Let's put money down.
Okay,
now I'm getting too much.
Yeah, Christian, let's put money on it.
So, I mean, you can use Kevin and Yam as your collaborators. You can talk to them, but I'll read them off to you now. One of these is fake. The other three are real.
This is awesome. I love this.
These are all Transformers-based toy lines.
I will do terribly, though.
Don't ask me for help.
All right, the first one is Rock Lords. Transformers that just turn into rocks.
Okay.
The second one is Computer Warriors. Transformers that changed into things like PC boards, flashlights, or even a can of Pepsi. Then the third one is the Garden Gang. Transformers that turned into things like garden vegetables or fruit. The final is McRobots, Transformers that changed into McDonald's products.
That, funny enough, is the only thing I know for sure because I had those Happy Meal toys when I was a kid. I'm gonna go with the fake one is the vegetable one. Is that?
That's what I would guess too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go find. I remember a rock transforming thing, but I'm thinking, was that He-Man? It's
either any thoughts, any input?
I'm shooting in the dark here, so
I don't know. I was thinking the McDonald's one sounds real. I have no idea in general, but the McDonald's one is real because that just sounds like Happy Meal toys. I what was it? Rocks,
Lots
garden
of
vegetables,
veggies. Yeah.
and what was the other one?
Computer Warriors.
Computer Warriors. I think the veggies are fake.
Okay. The Garden Gang is the fake one. Congrats. You all guessed right. All right. That's our first round. You got a point. Good job. You're 1/3 of the way into my silly puzzle.
I would like to say I feel this is Nickish soft launching, running a tabletop game for us. This is definitely
I'm okay with that.
This is
one day
this is
we'll
him
get
like,
that.
all right, you kind of get the gist of it. Now, dice.
All right,
Yeah,
Kevin.
Grab my dice.
Gosh,
Kevin, you
nervous.
are our resident horror connoisseur.
Yeah, I try to be.
So again, these are mostly based for you, but the other two of you, Christian and Yam, can both contribute your ideas. All right, first, Psycho is the first American film to feature a toilet.
True. Yes.
The original Fright Night had an alternate ending where the horror host Peter Vincent turned into a vampire. That's how the movie ended.
I believe that is
Spoilers.
also true as well.
Scream 4 is the only film in the franchise not inspired by true events.
The only film in the franchise not inspired by true events. I'm gonna say false for that one. I could have these way off.
Yeah.
Finally,
actually,
Friday the 13th is yet to have its 13th chapter.
That is true.
true.
Okay?
That I know.
So you are going with Scream 4 is the only film in the franchise not inspired by true events?
Yes.
You are correct.
Hey.
So I thought these were true or false for some reason. I wasn't sure if it was going along the same guides. I'm sorry. I
It's the
apologize.
same. It's
No,
the same
I mean
rule.
you got it.
Yeah,
So,
you got
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You're
All
just
right.
working through it. During.
Working through it in my There you
Yeah.
go.
All right. Yam, you are the third. And
I'm
I
so
will
ready.
say you do have the most difficult because you have such a wide range of this is going to be a little all over the place.
This is so mean.
Yeah.
I'm so ready.
And a little messed up.
You got this.
My own part.
I know. It's not fair.
So again, one of these is true, the other three are false. One of these is false, the other three are true. Sorry, guys.
One is false.
Wrong.
Okay.
One is false. All right. Number one. In the original She-Ra series, the main villain, Horde Prime, is never fully shown on screen.
Just like Inspector Gadget.
Number two.
Professor Claw.
Evil Hat Productions is an RPG company that has made books such as Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Blades in the Dark, and Man vs. Food Extreme Edition.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go on.
Number three. There's one canon clone from the Clone Wars series who made it all the way into the sequel movies. And number four.
All the way into the sequel movies. Okay.
And number four, in the Hades video game, Zeus's beard is a cloud.
That's true. It's a cloud. It is a cloud. Oh my god, what if it's not a cloud? I usually skip over Zeus's dialogue because I don't like him.
So to recap, Horde Prime never appears on screen in She-Ra. Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Blades in the Dark, and Man vs. Food Extreme Edition are all products from Evil Hat Productions. There's one canon clone from the Clone Wars who made it all the way to the sequel movies. And then Zeus's beard is a cloud in the Hades video game.
Okay, his beard is a cloud. I'm gonna say there is a clone that made it all the way to the sequels. That just one. Like they're just gonna say one made it. I can't remember. I'm gonna say yes to that one. And then the thing is, what's getting me is the Man vs. Food Extreme Edition. I don't know. Evil Hat Productions makes wild games. Um, I'm gonna say the Man versus Food Extreme Edition is false.
Is that your final answer? Any
No.
help from Kevin or Chris?
Kevin, what do you think is the false one?
So I'm thinking it would be that one too, because I think the other ones sound true, right? Like, I mean, the Clone Trooper one, the clones, I could think of. If I'm not wrong, there is a clone that comes from. You're talking about coming from the show to the movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I
That's
believe
kind of a
there-
long time for a clone to live, though. The
I
whole
think-
series
I don't
is
know
like,
much about tabletop.
I see.
games.
I feel like the Man versus Food is so ridiculous that it's true. Like
right? Because
and I think we can't
I don't
name.
know
Nobody can name that
about-
clone.
I could call
No.
Eli in
I
here.
think
He
it's
might.
the clone. I think the clone one is the false one. Because I
then
can't
I'm
think.
thinking about Horde Prime. The She-Ra one.
I believe that one because Nick just sold that, so I buy it hook, line, sinker.
Man, I haven't played Hades too much, so I just haven't played it too much. So I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you.
Well, Zeus's beard is a cloud.
Is it a cloud? Okay.
It is a cloud, yeah.
Okay.
The
So
problem is I haven't really watched the original She-Ra. So I don't. Now I'm like, is it Horde Prime in the original She-Ra?
see, I don't remember that either. I used to watch She-Ra as a kid. I'm not gonna lie.
I can't remember though. That's so far back.
It's so long ago.
I barely remember Skeletor. so.
Yeah, same. I'd go with
Never
B, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm going with B. I'm sticking with my
B.
original answer.
Man versus Food Extreme Edition is not a real book, and you
Yes.
are correct.
thank
job.
Oh,
God.
hey.
Oh my God.
Wait, so who was the clone that makes it all the way?
So the clone, I believe, is named Kix. He appears
okay.
in the show briefly, and in the comics, in the show, he actually gets kind of shelved. He gets frozen. He gets put into
That's
stasis.
why.
And
Okay.
He is found by the pirate crew, seen briefly in Force Awakens. They find him, and he joins their pirate crew. He is confirmed to be somewhere in Force Awakens.
Very cool.
Okay.
Zeus's beard is a cloud.
Yes.
And then Horde Prime is actually in the original She-Ra, as crazy as it is, because everyone thinks the villain is Hordak. The real Hordak, Horde Prime, is in the show, but he is only ever shown just his arm sitting menacingly. And
Very cool.
they never actually
That
show
makes
him.
sense. Because
So,
I was thinking about Netflix's She-Ra, where it's like they don't show Hordak for a really long time, or like he's just like in the
Mhm.
shadows. And then I forgot Hordak and Horde Prime. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. See,
Okay,
that's
okay.
a wide range of nerddom from each of you guys, and you did it. You aced it.
Very cool. Well, then that just means that we have to come up with a quiz for you next week.
Yeah, I was just thinking
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So that we get.
Yeah,
I
that
got it. I
Gambit.
got him, guys. And I'm
Yam's
I'm
got
gonna
it.
make it 4. Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
I think we're going to ask you
Yours?
like James Gunn questions, probably. I'm assuming.
Okay.
I know you're a big
All
fan.
right.
I mean,
Oh,
he was going to
don't
be
worry,
directing
I will not include
Superman.
anything.
So
Yeah. Okay. All right. I can't. Okay. I'm just going to get this out here. First episode. I do not care for James Gunn very much. This is well known. If you ever listen to Kevin's other wonderful podcast where he was very gracious to have Yam and I on, as well as his co-host Christian, I complain about James Gunn a lot. I do like Guardians of the Galaxy and the holiday special. And the holiday special. And I appreciate the Suicide Squad as a good movie. It just doesn't mean I like it personally.
right. We should talk.
I mean,
I
okay,
just-
now that it's out there, have we talked like what are your feelings about them announcing that Gunn's going to be directing Superman?
For me, I told Kevin this. I want to be excited. I want to like Superman. I'm gonna be there opening day, and I do like the comic run that he's drawing from. I love that Superman. So hopefully it's good. I have extreme reservations because for me it just feels iffy that not only is it a soft reboot so he can keep his favorite stuff, but also now he's writing and directing the main show. it feels like the James Gunn program to me, and I don't really love that.
Mhm.
But I would love to be proven wrong. I love DC Comics, and I would love it to work.
So to be fair though, I'm actually kind of on that. So like that's the only reason why it kind of bothers me a little bit, if it does bother me at all, is the fact that, you know, James Gunn is taking over the studio and he's going to be directing their flagship film. It does kind of seem like a weird way, like a weird thing of like self-nepotism, right? Like
Mhm.
instead of
Yeah.
giving someone else a chance to direct it.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
thing
where
that
it
gets
rubs
me
me.
for it.
I
Yeah, so
totally get
I
that,
understand
but
that.
I also kind of see it as him like I'm taking the brunt of this. So if this fails, it's on me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he is the studio head. He is the writer and also now going to be the director of like their first movie out. So yeah, we can't blame
that makes
anybody
sense.
if it's not good, you know.
Mhm.
And that kind of seems like a James Gunn thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like let me if you're mad about anything, like you can come directly to me about this. And believe me, people will. Like, you know.
I know.
yeah.
Like Nick.
Well,
Yeah.
do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not hiding on Twitter.
No,
He's
he's
like
yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
yeah. He's clearly very active, and
Very.
I will love to happily and lovingly, not bullying. I will never bully this man.
Right.
We do
No.
not, we do not bully on this podcast, but
I do have a question. What do you guys think is going on with Zack Snyder and his announcements recently?
Oh, I know.
Have you guys seen those
Oh,
on Twitter?
I think
I have
he's
not.
just doing.
Is it going to be like a
um,
theatrical release of
Yeah,
the
it's like
Snyder
a
Cut, possibly?
IMAX release of the.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, that's what I figured. I mean, it would be pretty cool to see. I'd probably go check it out in IMAX, but
Yeah.
it was
Be a
shot
long-
for IMAX,
long
so
viewing.
it'd be a long one.
Yeah. Yeah.
What-
Intermission, please.
Right?
Yeah,
I know.
for real.
Is it going to be that still that long?
No, I think it's a 3-day thing. So I think like you get your tickets, you go one day to see one. That's it.
Speaking of DC, I actually kind of want to bring up a couple things. On number one, shameless plug, we do have a DC tier list ranking that we're going to be releasing. None of us have seen Shazam Fury of the Gods, so that will not be on there. But everything up till Shazam Fury of the Gods will be up there. Kind of a celebration, a bittersweet goodbye to the DCEU as it was. All the Zack Snyder stuff. We rank everything from Man of Steel to Black Adam. And a little teaser. Joss Whedon's Justice League isn't even the worst film on the list. You'll have to listen and see what
It's pretty
that
bad.
is.
It's still far down.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me say, it's still pretty far down on some of our lists.
It's really far down, but it
I
didn't
think
even
on
hit
most
that
of ours, yeah.
Most of ours
Yeah.
it was, but
Yeah.
it didn't even hit that far. So tune in to see what can possibly be worse than Joss Whedon's Justice League. And now I think it's time to kick it over to Nick. Nick had something that he really, really wanted to talk about, and this falls in the DC realm as well. Nick, take it away.
Yeah, so I kind of recently, just let's kickstart where I was at. Neil Gaiman announced that legendary author and just influence Rachel Pollack is passing away. She was a writer at DC for a good run in the 90s. And she's also so many other things. She's like a legendary tarot card like reader, and she's done all sorts of very important things. But for the purpose of the podcast, she created Coagula for the run of Doom Patrol that she was on. And Coagula was by all intents and purposes, the first transgender superhero in DC Comics, and the first transgender superhero kind of period. There are other characters that you see in like Milestone at the time, created by like some really incredible creators, unfortunately, whose hands were a little more tied. They were more side characters, love interests, sometimes villains, who do appear and are openly trans. We also see trans characters in like The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. but the first superhero, right? So like the first person to actually have superpowers and go fight crime is Coagula. And she's super important in that run. She is a main character. She's pivotal to the plot progression. She has all these like important character moments with like Robot Man, who unlearns a lot of like hate and understands who she is. She has a relationship with Negative Man, who I believe at the time too was like two souls in one body. And Doom Patrol, I always recommend if you want a place for representation, Doom Patrol's got it. They have for multiple authors, multiple runs for the last 4 or 5 decades. But unfortunately, outside of Coagula, main trans representation just kind of fell off after Rachel Pollack stopped writing that run. And Coagula hasn't been seen until I believe either last year's Pride issue or this upcoming one. She's now back, but
That's awesome.
It's like it's taken almost 30 years to get there, and Marvel is introducing a very cool character, who I believe is named Escapade, who is also trans and is getting her own title, which will be great. But I just kind of wanted to emphasize, like, especially with our current situation in America, it sucks that the only way we see trans representation in media is if a trans writer is producing it, because otherwise they're kind of written off as like, oh, this is going to be a love interest who dies, or a side character who's forgotten, or a villain.
What's just real quick, what's really sad is I was trying to think of characters in pop culture who are trans that I can talk about just off the top of my head, and I cannot. It's horrible that I can't think of one.
They're so few and far between.
It's very limited.
It's so sad, and people are upset when they show one, or when one is represented at all, and it's like, dude, like, think about it. Like, there's doesn't exist. Like, there's nothing out there. So like, it's awesome for them to get representation. Even if it's just one character. Like, people get so upset over it, and it's like, man, it's not like there's a bigger argument about what people are, this horrible people are indoctrinating into these certain things, or like even, and I hate to get this, but like things like when people say they're groomers and like all this bullshit that just shouldn't exist, and it's like, guys, like, they don't exist. Like, my kids can't think of one trans character that they've ever seen. You know what I mean?
Like, all of this is why it's so important. Like, the people getting upset about stuff, it needs to be normalized. That way people don't feel so weird about like the things that they're just unfamiliar with. Like all of this inclusiveness, like, it's so important. And I never can understand the argument against it. Like, I'll never understand like why people are against inclusion, or like, it just, I don't know.
Seriously.
It's like a main argument. The main argument against any type of like LGBTQ representation is like, oh, I don't want my kids seeing that. And it's like, okay, well, all of these queer children are, children who don't know that they are queer yet, are watching everything that is very heteronormative. So it's like, we're going to figure out we're gay. It's just going to take a minute, and we're going to have to unpack a lot of stuff later on. Well, it's like the straight stuff is being shown to your kids anyway. So it's like, it doesn't really matter.
It's just weird. And I'm sorry to cut you off, Nick. I know.
No,
we'll get back to that. But like, I'm just going to be perfectly honest. Like, I would struggle with my like sexuality a lot growing up, especially being a young, being a young teenager. And there was no like, I'm bi now, but like, before I wasn't sure which way, I went. It was a long time of trying to figure out who I was. But there was nothing for me to look at or to see or to be like, hey, it's okay to be this way. Like, it was always like, the heteronormal stuff. You know what I mean? I grew up in a Christian household. That's all we were presented, and we'd have the you'd see the occasional, like, I remember like this was a while ago in the 90s, but like when Ellen DeGeneres came out, right? Like that was a big deal. And that was like a big deal for me too, just kind of knowing I was struggling a lot. But growing up, that kind of stuff would have helped a lot. Like seeing anything, seeing any kind of representation, seeing, gay characters on television. I think Will and Grace was like the first big show that came out that really broke that stigma and really was like, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like gay people are people too. And this is the way it is. And that show honestly helped out a lot too. But yeah, it's super, super important. And there are kids out there who don't get any of that. And they see it as wrong and they see it as immoral or all this bullshit that people feed them. And it's not right. Like it's
No.
and it doesn't hurt anyone. Like Strange World. Have you guys seen Strange World?
No,
We have not yet.
no.
Okay. So there is a gay character and openly gay. Like he's in this gay relationship and it's great and it's fantastic. And people were bitching about it. And it's literally maybe in the movie for like 5 minutes, right? Total, like where you get that. And then he's just a normal teenager. Like I use a quote unquote normal teenager, but then it gets back to his relationship with his partner. And people were freaking out about that. It's like representation is bad. Lightyear had the same issue. You know what I mean? Like it had the lesbian love storyline, with his commander or his friend and stuff like that. She's growing old with her partner. It was beautiful though. Like it was fantastic, but people bitched about it. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense. Like I don't understand. It's so few and far between. And it's not like people shoving anything down anyone's throat. You know what I mean? If that was the case, it'd be in every single thing you were watching, right? Like it'd be like, if they were even attempting to do that, it'd be like in every show, every movie, every comic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's not even close. So anyways, Nick, continue what you were saying.
Yeah.
No, man,
I apologize.
I get you, man. No, yeah, and it's totally true because like one of the most common things you'll see, and this isn't just apply to comics, it's video games, movies, TV, books, is people getting mad and they'll say something like, why do you have to make my favorite character, woke or something like that? And it's like, make your own original character, we won't get mad. But then the creators do make original characters and they're fantastic characters like Coagula. And if you even bring up Coagula, a character from 30 years ago who has not seen the light of day, who has been hidden away,
right?
And an amazing character, a powerful character, beautiful character, well designed. Bring that out suddenly. It's why are you shoving this down our throats again? And it's like I thought you wanted an original character, and the same goes for other races, right? It's like if it's not a white character, it's why don't you just make a unique character of that race? Well, when we do, you still complain.
Yeah.
Exactly. And DC and Marvel recently have been trying to push, some newer characters, some newer titles. And like I got really excited the other week because DC has this huge event going on coming up, this magical event with like big hard-hitting characters like Batman, Constantine, the Doom Patrol, and it's this big crossover thing. And one of the new characters they're introducing that's pivotal there is non-binary and Asian, And so I sent that to Yam and I was like, this is so great, they're going to be like involved in this whole thing. They're going to have their own title after that. And it's a big move because it's an original character. I just hope, and the reason I'm bringing up Rachel Pollack is because I really want going forward, for these publishing companies in comics to not just the indie ones, right? The indie ones are working hard all the time to push representation. The big guys, DC, Marvel, I need them to really not just let these gay characters out, these queer characters out in Pride Month when the annual Pride issue comes out. Because then guess what? I'm not going to see them again till next year.
Don't do that, guys. Don't do that.
It's like I read the Marvel Pride last year, and it was like characters that haven't been seen in decades. And you're supposed to know who they are, because they're so cool and they came out and then they were shelved. So yeah, let's just appreciate our authors who do come up with these things and support these comics. So maybe publishers will get the idea and we can keep rolling. Let's have Batman hang out with some more trans characters. That's cool because guess what? He probably would know some.
Definitely, certainly.
But yeah, thanks for letting me talk about that. I just think it's important.
Dude,
I think and
forum.
it's awesome. Also with the popularity of The Last of Us just finishing it, wrapped up its last episode last week, we got to see some really cool like LGBT representation, the expansion of like the Frank and Bill story in episode 3, the inclusion of like Riley's story from the DLC. And it's just kind of cool that HBO, like their 2 big shows in the last how many months, have had 9 non-binary leads, right? With Bella Ramsey and then Darcy from House of the Dragon, also phenomenal. All of them amazing. This is maybe a huge spoiler, but there is, if I'm trying to think of like a trans character, we are going to get a major trans character in season 2 of The Last of Us. Kevin, I don't even think you're there in the story yet.
I'm pretty sure I can. I think I know where you're going with it because I've heard about it before.
Yeah, and Game Changer, one of my favorite characters. I would take a bullet for this fictional character that I adore so much. So it's kind of exciting, and I like that HBO's like really like putting that at the front. So good for them, and good for all these other companies too.
It's freaking great. Hopefully it continues forward,
Absolutely. We do, like I said before, we need more of it. It's not, I love seeing it because it feels so new and different when it happens, which is sad. Like it shouldn't, right? It should feel like normal. It is what it is. This is life.
Yeah.
But it's so exciting when it does happen. And I absolutely adore it. And I'm here for it 100%.
A heartwarming story. This is such a tangent.
No.
But Yam and I went to this super cool. This is like a plug for this little cafe in Portland. It's called Fourth Wall. It's a coffee shop. They do a lot of nerdy events. They do
that's awesome.
So many events. It's insane, and they're such a good coffee shop. We went there for a little D&D one-shot night, and we were just watching this game be played with our friends. And these 2 kids who were the children of the owner, and the youngest child was trans.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
I can't. What did he say exactly when he introduced his character?
He introduced. Oh, it was so sweet. So, because we just knew that like our friend that we knew the kids were going to be there, and so I was really excited because I love seeing kids playing D&D. And one of them was playing. One of them was a co-DM. So like I'm like,
nice.
And I love that as well. And so they're going around the table. Our friends introduce their characters, and then he goes last. He goes, I can't remember the character's name, but he goes, this is my character. I'm gonna say Nickish, and he wears a skirt because he can, and he's trans because just like I am, IRL.
Oh.
And I was sitting behind him, like, I just wanted to cry. I'm like, just this little 10-year-old just openly saying it made me so emotional. It was like, and like I had 2 mimosas, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Like,
that is adorable.
So adorable.
It was so
and then,
sweet.
Like down the line, our friends were like, yeah, our characters are trans too. And I was like, it's so sweet.
That is adorable. And I also just kind of want to bring up one thing real quick. Like I know, not every assigned male at birth who wears a dress identifies as trans or gay or anything like that, right? Like drag queens out there, like the drag community is also coming under fire for just the most ridiculous and insane reasons. The politicians are willing to block them, but they're not doing anything about guns in school, which is another whole situation. But they're worried about our kids around drag queens. It's utterly insane, ridiculous. guys, I know there are like I don't want to get political because that's not the point of this podcast, but there are certain things that I want people to really pay attention to and try to go fix, call people. Like, I know it sounds corny, but the only way we can make a change is if we go to these people and don't do anything crazy, don't do anything stupid. Let's not start riots or anything, but we can.
You mostly said that for me.
Right?
Don't do anything crazy.
Don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything stupid, because that just obviously doesn't help. It doesn't. It's not a good look on us. But let's go out there, make a good make your voice be heard, right? Like, whether or not it's on the internet or if you're on Twitter, tweet these people who are trying to make these laws go through. Talk to them, try to hold a conversation. It's really, really hard to do with some of these people because they just don't want to listen and they've already had their mind set, but it's the best thing we can do right now over such trivial, like, stupid, like, it's utterly insane.
By the way, Geek Galaxy lawyers here would like to say that these are not instructions for anybody out there.
These are not.
If you absolute wackos do anything crazy, this was our cool opinions. No bullying, dude.
100%.
I know there's no bullying here, but I am a hater. So no bullying. But I will be a hater.
That's fine.
Yeah,
we never specified against that.
We hate on bullies. That's what we hate on.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah,
100%. And expect more of these kind of conversations. When these things, when these movies or TV shows or whatever come out that have these representation, we want to really celebrate those and talk about those. So we will be discussing those kind of things on the show. So yeah, I think that was an awesome conversation. Thank you, Nick. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Kind of want to move over real quick. We lost a really, really great actor a few days ago, Mr. Lance Reddick. He is an actor. He's starting everything from he was in The Wire. He was in John Wick. You guys are gonna have to help me out here because I know it. I just can't think of it on the top of my head. I know he's been in a ton of other things.
He was in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes.
He was in oh my god, my favorite thing, Critical Role. He was just playing one of the main dragons this season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I saw a clip of him recently that's been circling on Twitter on the Eric Andre show. He's absolutely
the
brilliant.
Only person who's ever scared Eric Andre.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
He was also supposed to be Zeus in the upcoming Percy Jackson series.
Yes.
So hopefully, I mean, maybe they filmed some of that already, but even if they haven't, I imagine his legacy will still be there.
Absolutely, 100%. And he passed away, I believe it was Friday morning. He was 60 years old. Apparently, from what we've heard, natural causes, which is horrifying. Take care of yourselves. I'm sure he was taking care of himself. You never know nowadays. Cherish your time here, your loved ones, all that fun stuff. But he will be missed. Especially, I think I watched The Wire, and he was fantastic in it. He was also in Lost. I know he was in Lost as well. But I personally recognize him most from John Wick. John Wick is the one that really kind of got me more on that train. And every time he's on screen, he's like the guy, right? Like, even when he was up with Keanu Reeves, like he was like the buffer to Keanu Reeves. Like, he was always like the bigger, like just bigger, not bigger. I can't think of the words. I can't think of words, guys. I'm sorry.
He's kind of like the larger than life kind of imposing
presence.
Figure. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Super
100%.
like composed in those movies, and oh man, he's awesome.
It's kind of like his thing and everything. Like that was him, and because he just has that air of like this guy knows what he's doing, Like, yeah.
100%. Yeah. So rest in peace, sir. We really appreciate all your work and thoughts and all that stuff with this family and friends. So yeah, guys. You guys have anything else you guys wanted to bring up on the show today?
Did you see? You saw Scream, right? I know a bunch of us haven't. I haven't, but
I also have not yet.
Yes.
Any spoiler-free vibes for that?
Absolutely. There's a lot of stuff. I really want to dig into, but overall, listen, so I have talked about my rankings of the Scream franchise like ad nauseum at this point over the past week. So if I was to rank them, I'm going to go 1 through 6. So my number 1 would be the first Scream. Number 2 would be part 2. Number 3 would be number 4. Number 4 would be number 5. I'm trying to keep track of all these. Okay. Number 5 would be number 6. And number 6 would be number 3. So it's second to last for me. I thought it was a really, really fun kind of, so I don't think any Scream movie is a bad movie. I don't think there is a particular horrible Scream movie. There are ones that I like more than others. Scream 3 is really, really rough. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I will watch it. I enjoy parts of it. There is stuff that I enjoy from it. Part 6, it tries to escalate everything, right? So it's no longer, they make it very clear that it's no longer it's obviously not a part of the original series anymore. It's not a requel because that was part 5. So now it's part of a franchise. So they have franchise rules, which means every single installment needs to get a little bit more ridiculous, a little bit more insane, a little bit bloodier. And it does that. It does that in spades. It is really, really bloody. The bloodiest Scream. Some of these kills are just insane, which again, I'm not complaining about, right? I think they're amazing. But in terms of the Scream franchise, where part 5 was going, again, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there's this thread that's going through now in part 5 and how the story is continuing without Sydney, without all these things. They did not play into that as much as I was hoping they would. They kind of pushed that they played into it to an extent, but they didn't go as deep as they could have. I like the first 2 Scream movies because yes, they are slashers, but I feel like they are a little bit deeper than your typical normal slasher, right? They have the meta element, but they also play it a lot into the psychological element. Like Sydney's a survivor after the first one. And she was a survivor in the first one too, with her mom being killed and stuff like that. So it's kind of the survivor mentality. This one just seemed more interested in giving you the blood, the gore, the brutality of it all, rather than that kind of, how would this affect you? Gosh, I want to say what it is so bad, but I can't. I don't want to spoil it.
Can I ask you, for you, because you're the biggest Scream fan I know, how does the ghost face reveal affect like your viewing of the movie? Because does that kind of completely flip how you see the rest of the film?
It can 100%, and this one did that.
Because I've only seen 2.5. I've seen the first 2 and I saw half of number 3.
Right.
And for me, both of the first movies I loved a lot more after the ghost face reveals.
Yes. Yeah. So this one, I'm the same way. So so they will affect it either positively or negatively. This one kind of negatively, unfortunately, affected my viewing of the movie afterwards.
Interesting.
And it's kind of going along this tread of kind of retreading the first 2 movies, right? So you have the first movie, which is Scream 5. A second movie takes so many cues from Scream 2 that it's, part 3, no spoiler unless you haven't seen it yet, but I'm not going to spoil the ending, but they're making the movie, right? They're making the movie Stab. They're in Hollywood. I'm just expecting this one to part 7 is going to be they're making a true crime documentary or a podcast or something about the crimes, and stuff starts to go down, right? That's how closely the first 2, part 5 and part 6, kind of hew towards the first 2 so far. Part 5 did it though in a way that was fresh and unique. It felt different. It didn't feel like it was retreading. After this one, after what part 5 did, they try to surprise you again with this one, and it just doesn't work because you already saw it in part 5, right? Not the exact same thing, but you're not as surprised anymore because they've already changed it up for part 5. Now for part 6, you have to kind of do something completely different. And they did some things that were pretty interesting, but it still felt like you kind of felt like where it was headed at. If you had seen the first, especially you watch first movie, then part 5, you're like, okay, that's where this is headed. And then you watch part 2, and then watch part 7, you're like, oh, okay, it's just like a cut and paste, like pretty much, like almost. Even up to the end of it, like it's insane, like it's crazy. So
here's my worry, Kevin.
Mhm.
And Yam can attest this because Yam made me watch the Scream movies, which I did end up loving. Yeah.
Don't say make. I did not make you.
Yam
I
strapped me to a chair like a usual Tuesday night
with the ghost
and
face mask on,
taped my eyes open like Clockwork Orange, and I had to watch Scream and then Scream 2 and then Scream 3.5 because I didn't finish it because we went to sleep. But
yeah, we were really tired.
Scream 2 has my favorite maybe scene ever in movies, which is Laurie Metcalf comes out of this freaking. I'm going to describe it. If you at home have not seen Scream 2, do yourself a favor. It is a treat.
It is.
Laurie,
it is.
And here's a spoiler. Okay, spoiler warning. It's been a while. I'm sorry, but spoiler warning. Laurie Metcalf comes from like they're on a stage, and Laurie Metcalf comes out of the wings, and she reveals herself as the killer in the best way possible. She has this gun in hand, and the gun leads out, so she kind of like
I love it.
She like whips out from behind the curtain, all like old school.
No, it's a door. She comes out from a door when she opens it, and because what's his face? Timothy Oliphant.
Who's going crazy. He's giving his all into this
bonkers.
role.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, of course I didn't do it by myself. And then he like looks past Cindy, and Cindy's like, oh my God, looks over her shoulder, and then comes out. Then every door opens, gun in hand. There she is.
It's a beautiful scene. I know exactly what it is.
It's so good, man. So if part 6. If part 6 has Laurie Metcalf and Timothy Olyphant giving their all, no notes.
You might have no notes. I'm not saying either one of them are in it or anything like that. I cannot say. But yeah, I mean, it was it was fine. I'll watch it again. I'm definitely going to watch it again. Like it's one of those that I walked out of super conflicted. Like I walked out of it really liking it. Like I was like, that was actually pretty cool. But then I thought about it, like literally from the theater to my house, which is only like 20 minutes. And I was like, wait, like, no, it wasn't. And even by the time the killer reveal comes, you're like, the second I saw it, I'm not even gonna lie, I threw my hands up and I was like, all right, I'm done.
Wow.
I'm done. And the motivations and everything are just anyways. And I don't know if they could have salvaged it with Neve Campbell, Sidney Prescott, because it is, even part 5, does kind of attempt to pass the torch, but it's still very much connected to Sidney, right? Like the whole thing, Sidney and Gail, and having Gail in this one only. And one of the cool things is that this is kind of all in the news and everything anyway, so it's not really that big a deal. This is the first movie that Gail gets a call from Ghostface, which is insane to me.
Right. You see that in the trailer.
Yeah, you see it in the trailer. It's the first film in the history of the franchise where Gail actually gets a call from Ghostface, which kind of surprised me for a second, but I was like, wait, they're right. So it's pretty crazy. Like I said, it did some cool things, but it's fine. I miss slashers though. I miss seeing them in theaters. I miss watching horror movies in theaters. This one felt like we went to go see a 4:00 showing on a Saturday, and it was actually pretty full. Like the theater was pretty packed, and it was a lot of fun. Like the audience gasped when they needed to. Everyone kind of laughed when they had to. You know what I mean? Like it was a really, really cool experience. And that's why I like horror movies, especially in theaters, and fun horror movies too, right? I mean, I don't know how much fun like seeing people die everywhere is, but it's still entertaining, and we had a good time. So that was the theater experience is really cool. So so those are my thoughts on Scream 6, and hopefully I would like to do a whole Scream series retrospective with you guys, because there's a lot to talk about, and we will definitely do that. So cool.
Yeah, I'll get the chair ready for next week.
Please do tie him down and stuff like that. So
well cool. Kevin, you're a big horror guy.
Yes.
in DC, they've been kind of announcing like their new run of comics called Dawn of DC. And they're
heard of
just
that.
yeah, they're just kind of it's just like the new era kind of thing. They're moving away from the last era, they're moving into the new one. So new comics are, getting titles and all that series. They're just announcing all that. And the big thing they announced is they have a series called Night Terrors coming out. So for about a year, all of the comics at DC are going to be horror themed.
That is awesome.
That's cool.
It's supposed to be this crazy kind of huge horrific thing. Some of the arts come out. Highly recommend you check that out. It's
Dude, I'm gonna
super
check that
cool.
out. Yeah.
Psyched. I think the first one they announced for that series is going to be the Hawk Woman series. We'll start that off. And
Dude,
she
that's
hasn't
awesome.
had her own title in a while, so that'll be great. Yeah, definitely check that out, guys. Super cool.
For sure. Oh yeah, and also Evil Dead Rise premiered at South by Southwest this week, and it's been getting amazing reviews. Like, people love it, and I'm so excited to see it. So definitely check that out. That's going to come out late April. So that's like one of my I'm so excited for that. So that should be a lot of fun, especially to see in theaters. So yeah, if you want to check it out, we should have a Geek Galaxy field trip and go watch it.
Watch party.
Watch party. That'd be a lot of fun. So
yeah.
I know. Yeah, I'm super stoked about it.
I know. I'm like, oh, did I miss the movie, or are we still talking about the one I'm not gonna go see?
It's only not the one you're not gonna go see. We won't make you watch that.
Nick will just drop me off at your house and pick you up, and I'll just hang out.
There you go.
Cassie,
there you go. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh God, unless Cassie goes, unless your whole family goes.
She's not going.
Never mind.
The kids are out.
Okay,
the wife's out. None of them are remotely interested in being terrified that much. So
yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool. I'll just get dropped off. It'll be perfect.
Well, Christian, you gonna make the long drive up?
I will be there.
Sweet, dude. Let's do it.
16 hours.
Yeah,
it's not that bad.
Nothing. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think that's our show, everyone. Like, that was really, really fun for episode 1. Man, it's always a good time. Episode 1 to you guys, but we've been trying out a few things, and it's actually been, it's been going really well. So we're really, really excited to be doing this. So let's go around real quick and tell everyone where they can find us and how they could find us. Christian, if you want to start.
You can find me on Instagram at Christian Nacorda, no space. You can find me at Facebook, at TikTok, all of the fun places that you kids like to hang out. Not all of them, because some of those things are too cool for me and I'm not allowed. But the normal ones is where you can find me.
Cool. Yeah. Where can they find you?
You can find my art page that has not been updated. I'm checking right now to see when it was last updated. That has not been updated since April 2021. So we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary, guys. My art page that will be updated eventually. Yametheum. You look up the Space Market, you can find it there. That is on Instagram. Please don't find me anywhere else. It's all privated.
There you go.
No.
And Nickish.
Well, you can't find me, Kev, but if you really try hard, I suppose, with some sleuthing, you get Benoit Blanc in here. I'll probably be on social media posting about this stuff through Yams or Christian's or your own stuff. So you'll find me eventually.
Awesome. Very cool. And you can find me, Kevin_Hoskinson or Kevin Hoskinson at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think that's it. LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn if you really want to connect, I guess. If you want to give me
really want to go to LinkedIn.
That's cool. Hey, you never know. Get some good opportunities.
Hey, James Gunn, go to his
James
LinkedIn.
Gunn, join me on LinkedIn, man. We could talk. You come on the podcast. We can have a great time. Anyways, thank you guys for checking out the show. We will be doing like a social media page and everything. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. We'll get that up and running really, really soon. Until then, from Geek Galaxy with Yam and the boys. See you guys later. Have a good night. Have a good day. And we will talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye. I'm sorry.